Hey guys, what is going on? Dylan here. What I got for you today is another build video. We're going to be focusing on a Void Hunter build. This is going to be a Deadfall Tether Orpheus rig build, and it is the best build in my opinion for doing Onslaught. So if you had, say, two of this build with like a Well of Radiance, I think you could easily, and I'm saying easily, do Onslaught on Legend mode, all 50 waves, easily. The orb creation is top tier. It's a tether, so it does what tethers do, and it kind of stun locks a lot of the enemies. And so for the exotics, I'm recommending Orpheus Rig, and I've been using Polaris Lance. Now that wasn't my first choice, but it's definitely my favorite choice. I tested a few different exotics out, and Polaris Lance is just, I don't know, it works really well, especially when you have the artifact mod Flint Striker on. And so I pair that with like an Apex Predator and a Buzzard or just any sidearm in the kinetic slot, and you can stun all three champions with this one build, no needing to swap at all. Now, the cool thing with this build is it's still a Void Hunter build, so you can go invisible and res your allies on top of tethering and getting a ton of orbs done or created for your enemy or for your teammates. And you can see, I mean, teammates are going through the ringer right now, and I can just go invisible, get the res, put myself in a safe location. It's easy. So for the build itself, we're going to be using obviously Deadfall Tether, Gambler's Dodge, Scatter Grenades. No matter what you say, you can't get me off the Scatter Grenades. Trapper's Ambush, and Vanishing Step. So a lot of similarities to like Omnioculus. For the fragments, we're going to be using Echo of Undermining, Echo of Harvest, Echo of Starvation, and Echo of Persistence. So Undermining for the grenade weakening. When you're tethering, you're getting tons of grenade energy back. Echo of Harvest, defeating those weakened targets gives you orbs and void breaches. Echo of Starvation, picking up those orbs or void breaches is going to get you Devour. And then Echo of Persistence is going to extend the duration of your invisibility, overshield, and your Devour. And then I did put these stat penalties on there. I know a lot of people I think are afraid of those stat penalties, but trust me, it's okay. In the early stages, if you're creating builds, it's scary to see a -20 discipline, but especially with a build like this, it's just if you have a way to give yourself that grenade energy, get grenades back, it's definitely worth it. And then how you're going to play this is just tether location is a big deal. You want to make sure you try to get as many enemies as possible. So you want to try to, over time of playing Onslaught, you're going to learn the choke points. You're going to learn, spawn locations, and just, trying to put them in those locations to hit as many enemies as possible. Now, if you're someone playing with a tether or you are that tether, make sure before you're killing the enemies that they're getting hit by that tether. And so for mods, we're going to be using, because I'm using a Polaris Lance, we're going to be using Solar Siphon mods. It's heavy-handed is there. That's supposed to be firepower. That's my bad, but that is supposed to be firepower. And then you got your typical resistance mods, a Solar Surge mod, and then Reaper, because you're going to be dodging and just a little bit more orb creation. So those are the mods that I would recommend, except don't use heavy-handed. Use use firepower. But if you're going to use a different, make this build your own, you don't necessarily need to yes man and use exactly what I've put. I make my builds more so as a guide for you to experiment and see what works for you. Use mine as kind of a foundation. So if you're using a Void weapon, then switch it out with Void Surge, Arc weapon, Arc Surge, etc., etc. But I really, really personally like Polaris Lance, so that's kind of what I would go with. But yeah, with my build videos, I just want to say with any of my build videos, I never claim to be like the greatest player of this game. These are builds that I found that I use, that I enjoy, that I think work really well. I test all these builds out before I do them, and it's just what works for me. If you guys think that you have something that works better, then that's awesome. I love to see it in the comments so that I can also test it out and see if it does work a little bit better. And honestly, a lot of times it probably does work better because you guys are probably a lot smarter than I am. So yeah, I mean, take this build, make it your own, find what weapons work for you. But trust me, the main thing here, Orpheus Rig and Deadfall Tether, you're going to create a ton of orbs, and just make sure you're placing those tethers in the correct location. And again, if you're playing Onslaught and you got a teammate that's using a build like this, don't shoot enemies before they're getting tethered, because they need to get tethered in order for that orb creation to happen, or else it's kind of all, a moot point. And then if you're the one that is creating those tethers, just make sure you learn the locations to properly place those, so you're getting, I mean, look at the super energy we already got back from that tether. So anyway, so that is the build. That's what we got for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys agree, if you like it. Let me know if you guys have ran Onslaught with this. And yeah, I think that's all we got for you today. And of course, I'm going to put the dim link in the description below. This is now my new main Void build, so that's kind of cool. So anyways, all right, I'll talk to y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.